All right, what's going on, guys? It's Luke here. We ended up taking this quick one-to-one today. Nothing crazy. I de-risked on this heavily, just based on how PA was moving. But here are the executions right here. And yeah, I don't think it was a bad trade or anything like that. But yeah, I definitely don't think it was a bad trade or anything like that. Like I liked it short term, but definitely not one I was willing to throw heavy risk on. So coming into the day, obviously overnight, we had a massive move to the downside. So I actually didn't really expect too much today because you can see from Asia we had this massive move down. And usually when we do get a massive move in Asia, we do have like a choppier session. We don't really see too much movement, which is pretty much what ended up happening today. So coming into session, I was looking at my higher time frame bias was obviously bearish, but I wanted to see one of two scenarios. So I was thinking either we could see potential, if price wants to displace higher, we could see longs into these unmitigated gaps above and then use those unmitigated gaps to send price back lower. And then obviously if we did open up and we just started to displace lower, I was willing to take continuations down because we did have previous week's low and that weekly gap. But keep in mind, ES had already tapped that gap, so we do have a higher time frame bullish SMT. So basically coming into session, I was just kind of waiting to see if we want to get a Judas or something like that. We kind of did. There was just no entry. So you could see market initially manipulates lower. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, maybe we'll get a 30-second, 15-second Judas. There was no inversion. And I didn't want to force longs on obviously like this 1 minute candle right here, because looking at ES, I think ES gave a really weird close. Yeah. So I was just like, nah, I'm just going to wait. I'd rather just honestly just like miss it rather than try to force something, see price manipulate and go lower, because I know the higher time frame draw is obviously lower. So I really want to be careful taking longs at this point. So we get this move down, obviously not interested in shorting here because we're not even delivering out of anything. So even if I did, you would have been entering, forcing this 30-second here, you would have had to go break even at this 930 wick. So it didn't really make sense to me how close it was to the 30-minute or to the 930 candle. From there, we obviously remanipulate back above the lows. And at this point, I was thinking maybe if we got a strong V shape to the upside, I could potentially look for longs. But obviously, it took forever to inverse this 1 minute gap. We weren't showing the strength that I wanted to see. We end up getting another manipulation to the upside. Now I'm just seeing at this point, we move up, we move down, we move up, we move down, we move up. At this point, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to wait for a new structure to form because I'm not going to try to force a short here. There was a 2 minute short. I'm not comfortable taking a 2 minute short right there. We have an unmitigated 2 hour pretty close above now. And even though I said higher time frame bearish, like it's just not something that I would like to take. I would prefer to see price show us that it wants to displace lower, get a continuation, and then look for the move lower. So that's what we end up actually getting. So obviously this 2 minute gap, 2 minute inversion ends up delivering price lower. We end up getting a sweep there and SMT, but I'm not concerned about this SMT because again, I think we're going to go to previous week's low at this point. Based on how we just closed below this low, I'm thinking that we're going to get a retrace and potentially go lower. And we still haven't even gone there yet, which is just probably due to the lack of volume. So from here, price comes up and it ends up tapping into this really small 5 minute gap. There was also a 3 minute right here. So at this point, I'm looking at this, I'm saying, okay, going down to the lower time frames, what do we see? You could see we have like a clear. This actually looks good. With this accumulation, we kind of manipulate up. You could see 10 a.m. pushes us higher. We tap into this 5 minute, this 3 minute, and we get this really strong 1 minute inversion right here. And I actually really like this candle closure. We knife through it in one candle. So I'm really confident in this. And then we look at ES at the same time. ES has all this relative equal lows right here, relative equal lows, all resting and leading in towards London low. So I'm thinking at this point, okay, ES just displaced lower. We have low resistance below leading into a higher time frame draw. NQ's delivering out of a 5 minute. Yes, it's not really like a sponsored 5 minute, but again, just in terms of the draw and liquidity and the bias, I'm willing to take this. Based on more like discretion, we tap into this 3 minute, 1 minute inversion, low resistance below. I'm literally just looking for the one-to-one. Reason I didn't want to target rate the previous week's low is just because of the lack of volume. You could see how much we were just kind of chopping around. And again, I don't know. I didn't feel like holding all the way to previous week's low and getting edged because I know a lot of the times you'll know when the volume's good and it's probably going to deliver. And this did not look like one of those times. Like I said, we manipulate up, down, up, down. Like I know it's low probability in general. So I take my entry right there. Initially, we get into some drawdown. I go break even on, I think it was after we took this low right here. So as soon as we started crossing below this low, I go break even and I just literally held for the one-to-one. And as you could see, after hitting The 1-to-1 we literally just reverse. Yeah, which is pretty annoying because I know people were probably trying to hold to previous week's low, but again, when you recognize the bad volume, and the slower delivery, you can kind of just assume we're not going to deliver fully to the draw. We're probably going to save it. Maybe 11 a.m. will deliver there, but we'll see. But yeah, that was the trade, guys. 5-minute continuation. Keep them. This was at 10:05. So 1-minute inversion. I like the close on ES. ES has low resistance below, leading towards London. You can see it actually leaves equal lows with London, which is just ridiculous. But yeah, nice delivery there. On this push at least, and then yeah, we'll see what happens later in the day. But that was the trade, guys. Let me know if you guys took this or what you guys took today. Not the greatest PA, like I said, just back and forth. So when you see price going back and forth multiple times, it's not picking a direction. It's probably going to be low probability, and you kind of just want to hit those 1-to-1 base hits and just get off. So that's it for me, guys. Code LukeX. Alpha is still 40% off. Top One has some discounts running. Funded Next still has the discounts running on the Rapid. So if you guys want daily payouts, go check those out. Links in the pinned comment. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.